Number 4 starts now.
Here we have it. This is it. We're hopping on in. The halfway mark, drawn in the sand already, right? The line's been marked. Let's go ahead and jump on into the battle bus. Mega and Dubs made a great performance that last game. We love to see them there. We talk about a completely different zone. This is far north for the bus cut here. Everyone up top, they're going to touch down quickly. These fights are going to be explosive. They're going to end very fast. Bizzo and Diego finally set off with a bit of an advantage here, pushing back Slacks and Clarity G.
So to me, at least seeing just the particular Sleepy Sound spot, it seems like Bizzle and Diego probably got more reps where they weren't on the absolute southern part of the map, as we see Diego end up picking up, because those long flights are generally a lot harder if you haven't drilled them, knowing the exact distance you need to land.
And also, Slacks here gets knocked by Hide and Seek, who's the team on the other side, the southern side of the Sleepy Sound. Clarity
Can't stick this.
Is so hurt here. Yeah, he's barely got any kind of material here, so he's got to figure out a play. But no, SMG Fire starts to come in, and they recognize he is out of builds. Down goes our third place team, Slacks and Clarity G. A dagger to the heart there as they just get crushed in game 4 so quickly as well. And that is why we talk about that bus so much at the start of the games. It really determines so much for certain teams. It almost plays a different dynamic, right? You have to have a strategy for when it's close to you, when it's far.
And one of the things that these top duos will talk about all the time when they're landing at a spot, and why it's such a big deal when somebody moves, is it's called the drop map. And what that kind of teaches players once you've gone through is, regardless of where the bus path is, you know exactly where you need to jump out, how far you need to glide to land on one of those priority weapons. Now, if you haven't necessarily drilled or had the amount of practice to get to where you need to get going, somebody else who does can take advantage of that, as we're seeing Scented and Cold begin to get their rotation going on, and they got a little bit of daylight now.
And there's clear implications as well to third place falling, right? These are teams that are on the heels of our first place duo. So for Bila and Peterbot, if second and third go down, I mean, they are going to have such just a killer lead, like, over everybody. Like, they're going to really have a lot of room to work with. And that's also scary for the rest of the lobby, because everyone is chasing down that FNCS pickaxe of champions. You want to go ahead and be one of those teams in that #1 conversation for first place. But when you have a team like Peterbot and Bila playing the way they're playing right now, they have this exceptional drop spot, and no one's really contested them. Yes, you have Skittles and users on the other side, but this is a drop spot big enough for 2. There's no need to take an early clash necessarily. We'll see it happen, but it isn't forced.
And one of the things I love about Peterbot's looting path right now is he's prioritizing getting that mythic scope burst, and then additionally, you can see him getting all of the high value materials. He's on nearly max stone and 300 plus metal in a blink of an eye, because he knows the high value resources to him.
Look at Miro here. Talk about high value resources. The entire drop spot is one that's loaded with them. Metal, brick, wood, and of course the extra coolers to get those chug splashes. For Elites and Bank, man, big game to put them inside the conversation, a big game to hang your hat on. You pulled off something exceptional this FNCS. You talked about it, quite literally could be a record-setting game, record-pacing game right there. A huge performance from them.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think, at least for this FNCS, we've seen a duo put up that many eliminations. There might have been 1 or 2 that were close going through, but just a fantastic effort. And it goes to show just how strong that can be on the leaderboard.
You know what's very interesting is that they've changed their playstyle as well. After that huge pop-off, they're like, wait a second, top 10? We should not stay inside the command cavern. Let's just get out of here. And it's almost like that little showing says, we can do this.
And sometimes that's all you need. You need a little bit of daylight there, and you can kind of keep it rolling, which honestly I feel like is what's happening to Peterbot and Bila. There's just no slowdown from the first qualifier where they took first place to now, and they're continuing to keep it rolling.
We have a problem with this zone, though, and the problem is Kanata and Adris have not played well when the zone has been close to Greasy Grove. They just haven't found their storm surge. It becomes more and more difficult for any team that has the zone on top of them to find teams rotating.
Yeah, and it seems like they do a lot better when they're forced to go somewhere else, because they move around the map so well together. But also another team that we need to look at here is Muzz and Avery, because we talked about facing adversity, being able to overcome it. I know a lot of people have talked about, like, hey, I'm not necessarily sure this duo clicks in terms of their play style, but they found the way to put it all together through their individual effort and the skill, and now they're set up pretty solidly for what feels like the first time we've tuned in with them.
Yeah, definitely a good spot to be in, top 9. We know we lost Avery a little early that last game, that rotate coming out the storm. Maybe they stood around a little too long, right? And they got picked off.
I mean, it's the cavern. Everyone always hangs out, right?
Super unfortunate time for them to come on in. Avery falls to the storm, right? There was a lot of things that didn't go well, but hey, the fact that they managed to pick up enough points and even give them the opportunity to continue to hold the top 10 is important and cool in its own right. We'll see how that plays out for Acorn and Edgy. Here's a team that's starting to rocket their way on up, right? Jump their way on into this conversation. This is a caster pick for us as well. Acorn and Edgy, right? Who is it? I think somebody's gun leaning into Acorn and Edgy, a team that we definitely know has that champion caliber. They're here.
And one of the things we end up going back and we're talking about predictions, put a lot of time looking at the drop map and all that, but we also flip-flop all the time. Like if we were going through rehearsals yesterday and you looked at the prediction page then compared to now, I'm pretty sure like 3/5 of us ended up changing and going through, and it just goes to show how strong the lobby is and players moving around each other, and it can make a big difference. As right now, Jackson and Mason, who were pretty much known throughout the entirety of the qualifiers to just come barging into Greasy Grove, have completely swapped up their playstyle.
Definitely, kind of like Shoney and Polo, right? Changing up the playstyle, trying to find success, especially when we see finals. We love to see, especially newer teams, try out things that are gonna, potentially and hopefully work for them when it comes down to finals. No new team that we've seen show up today has taken their finals opportunity and tossed it to the wind. In the past, maybe you see players just headbang into a drop spot, but not this time around.
Be very, very quiet. Be hunting Lawrence and Blake. We've seen Day and Clicks do this a number of times, but can they finally get the 3-2-1 and convert it into something they can push on?
They also have not done this to Blake and Lawrence, right? They've opened on many other teams, but this time here, they're finding Blake and Lawrence completely off guard out in the open. Day has to be careful, those visual sound effects will give it your position a little bit further than others, but he understands this very, very well. Now they have the high ground. They have this team in his natural divot. This is the perfect time to open up. He doesn't even wait for clicks. He finds a couple tags here, tries to take the push. This is what Day does best, though, is to open up these fights and try to fully commit to it, but Blake and Lawrence have been playing very well.
But one of the key differences, normally when they take this push, there's somebody lurking around them who can chip them out, and we've commented on it every time, but for the first time, there's nobody else there. And also for the first time, they just back off.
Trying to play it slow and steady here, playing smart. They probably recognize these guys are playing very well, but there's more, of course, unfolding. We got Vivid to give us the lowdown.
Hey guys, just wanted to catch up on the big question mark coming into today. Scented and Cold were presumably going to be contested by Quanti and Larson, but big switch-ups happening in games 1, 2, and 3. Scented now in game 4, as you can see, they're taking a split drop, but it's causing a little bit of awkward moments. You can see him using that siege cannon to rotate over the building, thinking that he was going to get some free loot, but no, he actually runs into Larson again. Ends up making it to safety though. Let's see what they can do with the rest of this game.
And the name of the game in NA East is stay on your feet. And as I say that, Booga fails to do so. Npen getting the knock and taking him down. You see Nets actually knocking Diego as well over in the Sleepy Sound. And Miro says, I've had enough of that. He's sprinting back and potentially trying to maybe get a reboot back in the zone. He can hang out here forever. 2 floppers, 2 med kits, as long as even has the shield keg to offset some of the storm surge, and has a med miss. If he just wants to hang out and not worry, as you see the other duo rotating away, he should be able to grab this card and make it happen.
What's crazy about this is this entire saloon was not even looted. Like, talk about having an incredible draw spot, and then even more loot to play with. You can see up at the top that Miro and Booga have at least 16 points in each of their last 16 set lobbies games played. So they have been playing okay, right? But, where to pick up?
That's actually really, if we're talking minimum number, like picking up a minimum of 16 points going through in that regard is really, really, really good.
In 16 games.
Yeah, like that is a very impressive streak coming through. And I mean, I think that it then has to go back to the last finals as well, because they ended up going through in the qualifying.
In a half, probably.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely a lot of games there, guys. Dates way back to the other times when, of course, they're
looking to fight,
punching in those FNCS champs. But DJ Yamzo, for the first time now, we're seeing them get a little bit closer and closer to danger here. Just outside of Sensitive and Cold. Pay attention to that feed. Something might be going down for Avery and Muzz. They have managed to end up on high ground. Okay, so we're just seeing, like, take the dice and roll it.
And I mean, also, just as we're looking at all these teams who are in Command Cavern, we had, I believe it was 2nd, 6th, 9th, 11th, all right on top of each other. These guys are the top part of the table at one of the strongest points and having an amazing bandage.
All we need is Peterbot and Bila to go ahead and jump up in this conversation, toss themselves into this general area, and all of a sudden we got ourselves a deadly concoction. But on over to Edgy and Acorn, our 14th place team. We saw that they were sitting right around these other teams, and it looks like they're looking for a fight, but Day and Clicks are also looking for a battle. They got pressured into this entire mix here, but not looking too good.
But yet again, Day taking chip damage from the side as they're trying to get this aggression. If they can close that off, they're fantastic. When they can get wall to wall, they can win these fights, but they keep getting chipped down. And instead, it looks like they're trying to potentially rotate past.
A little bit of a mix for wear here. Day and Clicks are jammed in between Edgy and Acorn, and then that team that's holding down the front side of the water there. So there's no free passes here. It's Fable Taco and Golden. As we know, Fable Taco and Golden, of course, just trying to figure out their draw spot, figure out this general area. They have been landing and pretty much looting the Shambles loots that's just outside the Tilted Tower in the Collider.
This is actually the first time just taking a peek at Peterbot's inventory. We talked about him going for that mythic AR right off at the start and just putting shots in. It's the first time we've seen him holding the striker pump, which is something I wanted to talk about because even back when the regular pumps were still in the game and everyone was using that, Peterbot was a tac shotgun player. He likes the high rate of fire weapons. He likes kind of taking advantage, pressuring your walls. And as we see here, like we talked about, Miro got Booga back up on his feet and he's even splitting him resources now. They're burning a pad too.
And the worst part about this, they are so below the surge actually. So this is a desperate attempt for them. The launch pad is absolutely a necessity here, guys. They have to not only get to the zone, they have to get to the zone, they have to fight, they have to find time to heal. There's a lot working against them here. Now, the one thing they can do, get in a box fight, throw those two barrels down, and they can actually take damage and take a fight. That is probably the only play that is realistic here for them. Booga is split up from Miro though. Miro's decided to go straight into another team. Booga, however, says, hey, there's minis here. I need this loot.
And as we see now, Booga trying to find some side. Honestly, he might look to potentially fish. Like, they're running out of options here in terms of white HP. And when you're late to the edge of the zone, I promise you there's going to be players there. As we swing on over, Duke and Jumper, they're in a similar situation, but able to pick up much needed elims and damage.
Definitely a huge fight here. TK's down, Haji's down goes Thatch as well. Thatch falling is actually huge implications for the standing as well. But Miro jumps in a box, so does Booga. They're stepping in. Player Fi is the one player on the other side of the wall. Have they done enough? Miro has already picked up a full elimination. He just face checks a two-man duo and gets away with one. And now he's looking to close out here on Player Fi.
That was nuts. I was just about to say, up in the feed, Miro got a knock, but he just full sent it using that legendary combat SMG and getting on top of TK and Playify, who are very good in these circumstances. But as you talked about, 7 below, 52 below, Storm is still going to keep ticking in. Playify, he's below as well. So if they're able to take the aggression onto him, this could end up being a huge saving grace for them.
Also, look at Booga's HP. It's starting to run really low here. Miro as well.
He has to find
Clock is ticking. There's no more time left. One surge and that's it. That is it. So
Pop
right
bandage.
there, that's so much HP. No, he doesn't have time for the bandage. Don't troll Sundown. There is no time for that here. It's finals, baby. Miro is off to the races, though. He has to get a little bit more tags. Will he survive?
I will still claim that Zexro could have popped that bandage and sprinted into zone, but with just the zone still only switching over to 2-tick, there is potential that they might be able to keep Booga from getting full confirmed. We're going to keep an eye on the top left-hand corner. As I say that, Kanata gets a pair, Day gets one, and it actually looks like Booga ends up going down. We'll see if another reboot can come through, but Peterbot underneath Surge might have just individually put him above. I think it did.
Miro's down as well, and that's it. Second place down, third place down, fourth is all that remains in the game. Peterbot and Bila now have the runway completely open. It's a green light. How much gas do they have in the tank? How far can they take this opportunity? If they manage to pop off once again here, it is a true runaway train. The only way to dethrone them will probably be to land on them, contest them, make something, again, troublesome for them, because so far they have had, like, cruising on easy street.
Right now, DJ, I'm looking for a little bit of room here. You can see him and Ionzo still 27 below, and just as I say that, a duo gets confirmed, and they will, fortunately, not have to dig into their resources, thanks to Pamso catching a pair onto Mega and Dubs.
We did see Thatch go down, though, so Pam could be a solo here. Mega and Dubs now fully taken out. We will get the full update there shortly. Scented and Cold, however, that team that we said, it was 4th place still in the game. It's Scented and Cold here. Now in 2nd place. They find someone off guard here. It's actually Bank and Elite, our other top 10 team. Very, very big opportunity here for Scented and Cold as they have managed to find just a couple tags to go ahead and start this one off. In the feed, though, Peterbot finds another one. Tabs G is going to find a knock onto Fable Taco, and already these exchanges are starting to add up. If you didn't know, you can take the porta potty to go ahead and hit a rotate right there. A little tech for you guys.
I mean, I like to call those the portal potties. You know, you end up going through. It's a nice little portal on the opposite side. Fun fact, they're also indestructible. So, hey, you ever need to buy a couple seconds? You know, just catch a little break on the side. Might not smell too good, but better than being taken down early.
Yeah, definitely. On over to Avery and Muzz, though. So now we have 3 teams at the Command Cavern, all within the top 10, all still alive this game as well.
And we saw a very similar thing over ODU where Command Cavern, hey man, if you don't even need to alpha it up. People will give you room. There's plenty of resources to be scooped up. But this zone is getting super interesting now as we are relatively central, but with just the river running through it and not too many natural high ground spots, players are going to be forced to burn a lot of their hard mats. But as we're checking in with our teams in the top 10, they don't have a ton.
Yeah, also, Elite's down in the storm here. Bank is just holding on to dear life, thinking about it. Can I get the pickup here? Can I save my teammate? It's not looking likely. Iamzo, DJ, only a single elim right now. Also, very, very hurt, looking super bad right now. What is their play here? How do you survive this?
Honestly, if they have the awareness to know that team is there, you just want to jump on Bank when he comes out of the zone. They should know somebody is rotating next to him, and here it is.
No, doesn't find the opportunity. We were holding our breath there, and Bank just squeaks his way through, but also it's Muzz and Avery who's down low here as well. Bank is in a world of trouble. He is pinched in between our top 5, number 7 teams here. But not only that, it's Muzz and Avery who are definitely in the lead.
Yeah, it's 6, 7, 8 right on top of each other. But Muzz and Avery have the party position. And one thing, too, in Avery's loadout, he has the sniper. I'm about to say he's going to look to catch somebody over peeking.
What's crazy is Avery and Booger are one of the 2 only NA East pros that will actually carry this confidently. And it's also interesting to note that they played with each other in the past, right? So some stuff working between them.
Brett's got a knock on to Cold, which we talked about. Peterbot and Byla entering tournament management mode. If Cold and Scented go down, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th are down right at the first placement threshold.
So risky. Degen taking the pad here. It's low. He's moving fast, but Avery, all he needs to do is sneeze on Degen, and it's over. Luckily, he touches down. In the feed, though, Scented goes down to the explosive Shoni and Polo. We talked about them. They're so good. They're finding a lot of success here, and already that's a full elimination. That's not just a knock. That is a complete elimination.
And Degen and Iamzo are about to be cooked right
gosh.
here. I mean, they got about 1 damage worth of HP
What was that?
between
Just
the
a
2
launch
of them.
pad. Might as well put it down,
Burn it.
right? Just don't want to give that one away for free. Pamsel is just looking around now. You can see the walls crumbling here. That's because Pamsel's starting to pickaxe. There it is. We get to jump into his perspective. And he just pushes off Iamzo for a second. Bank finally gets picked off by Scare Bear there. Another team that's starting to inch their way into that top 10. Big knock, though, onto Lawrence. A team that was edging their way on up. Blake and Lawrence. But that's just a knock. Will the finish come through is the true question, as that's a team that is on Peterbot's heels. Remember, Peterbot and Byla are effectively in a position to just break away.
I mean, they are 70-plus points up. No, that is not a mistake. Yes, we are only in Game 4. We'll have 2 more after this. They are 70-plus points up on the closest duo in the lobby right now. That means besides Peterbot and Byla, hey, things are pretty close. But this is the finals. You got to catch those boys, and you got to start getting going now.
Yeah, definitely. If Cold is still alive here as well, I mean, they're just holding on by a thread. So that thread's thin. Let's see it, though, for Bizzle. Bizzle gets taken out. Larson falls there. We're starting to see all the trades happen now. Here's Byla. Here's Peterbot. Here's their situation. Peterbot, no HP for the shields. Okay, he's got 1 Flopper to work with. Jamper on high ground 6. The zone does not pull their way. They're going to need a launch pad, and they're going to need it ASAP. Here it is. They're going for the ground rotate. They don't even want to stick around and wait.
Tough situation, trying to slide down. They need to hop right on over the river, and you see them utilizing wood builds, trying to be as sparing as possible. And I mean, over the river and through the builds, but Byla gets ripped to shreds before he can end up getting to grandmother's house. And again, does not have any shields, but they see the player just kind of slowly floating next to him. They want to be able to pick that up. Ashoni finds another. Muzz gets the confirmation onto Quanti right now, and we are closing in on that top 25, but there is no Storm Surge threat. And right now, if I'm Peterbot and Bila, I want to pick up Igna on the backside of the zone, and Peterbot tries to change the angle. He gets taken out.
Violet goes down as well, and that's it. They fall just outside the top 25. Finally now, there's an opportunity for the players to go ahead and hop their way on up, make this a closer competition, but we said it, they have effectively a 70-point stretch over everyone else. That's so far about 3 games worth of comfort.
So if we're looking now in this game, first out, second out, third out, fourth out, sixth out, seventh out. That means we just have Blake and Lawrence, Duke, Jamper, Muzz, Avery, Pam Selfash, and then Joji and Rokane. We're just on the outside looking in of the top 10. They want to make a push here to try and equalize that a little bit. There's daylight to push into second if you can scoop this VR and some elimination.
Couple bubble teams, Walkers and Scarebear, Demonics down low, Jeff's duo. I saw Agers holding on there on the side, so those are teams that if they perform well here and now, they will jump into the top 10 and put themselves in the conversation talk for day 2. But Rokane and Joji's hurt. He got left behind. He finally catches up to Rokane now, and they're both looking very, very weak right now as they don't have a lot of HP. I think Joji got picked off on the backside of the storm there. What just happened?
Duke and Jamper going down as well. They're going to try and leave in 1. Might as well be 0. Duke will end up getting the confirmation over. That's barely even 1. Might as well be 0. Duke will end up getting the confirmation over. Nick goes down. Tabs goes down. We're in the top 25. Storm Surge will turn on here in 20 seconds if 5 more players don't fall, but we're looking at shambles here. Joji 52 HP and looking for some space. Rokane gonna split all the maps. Now just 8 combined HP. Slams down some armored walls, looking for a little bit of room. Clicks goes down. Joji goes down, and honestly, this is gonna be a shakeup here. Muzz and Avery, they're in a good position if they can find some builds.
Definitely. Pamso also falls there, so there it is. Another top 10 team already getting just blown out of the lobby here well before the big placement points start to get given out. For now, though, high ground, Pledge and Teo starting to pressure down the lobby. Muzz and Avery sneak their way on into 4th here. Oliver OG finds Walkers. The 2 bubble teams clashing there on that low ground position. That mid ground is getting very, very interesting here. Pledge, though, starting to look for a refresher here. He's edging his way around here. This is a win set up condition for him if they can pull through. Agers and Kanata are still alive, and they're also inside that top 11 here. Take a look at Blake, though. Solo clutch time.
And he's into 2nd place. We talked about all those duos going down and there being daylight. So far, they've capitalized, but with only 2 builds, all he cares about is outlasting other duos. He doesn't want to get smelled out. He wants to just hang around. If he can find a refresh on the backside of the zone, that'll be huge. And Clicks gets taken down, gives him a couple more builds, but no excess shield.
Definitely a full finish right there. That's worth a place.
Muzz and Avery down.
And the 3 points. Muzz and Avery go down inside the top 5. There it is. Blake now has a chance to run away with this, but there's not many solos alive here. They get found out right there. He gets just a run away here. He's trying to stay alive here. Watching this behind here, just making sure there's no one creeping up. The zone bounces back. It's going to work very, very well for him. Kanata finds Oliver OG in the feed. Agers gets hurt, but he's still in it. Agers does have to clutch up now as Kanata falls down 2 on the right, though. We have Nets trying to solo clutch right now. He's inside the top 8, and it's a pop-off performance. This mid-ground is so congested.
Looking for some space. We still have plenty of, actually 6 solo riders out there right now, as well as 6 duos, so we're evening it out. You can see the action on the backside of the zone as Av trying to get a piece of it, but Blake is hanging out just underneath that. He says, hey, the more people that fall, better for me, but we saw threats in Qualifier 1 with that amazing 10 elim game by himself, sitting on 4 right now, and despite the builds, they're looking pretty good, but we're bouncing back and forth. This is our 3rd straight bounce back, and if it pulls anywhere back to the north, things are going to get real weird real fast.
Yeah, Nets is trying to go ahead and sit this one out. He's going to go for the storm play, the med kit play. Meanwhile, goes Blake on that low ground, just inching his way around here. This back and forth bounce has really played into his favor because players are recycling builds, and it is going to go right back. Pledge and crew on high ground have slowly ran out of materials, so now they have to come on down. This is not a free win for them by any means, as Threats and Rise have been looking on up. Huge knock right there from Threats. He gets some big tags, goes in for the finish, but no, someone sneaks up behind him. It's actually Bryson Nawson, and down he goes to the hands of Bryce here. Meanwhile, Blake sneaking away with so many points. Now he's about 40, maybe 30-point stretch from 1st place, so he is definitely in that conversation, bouncing his way back into it. On the side, though, Blake's still up.
But there's going to be a change in elevation here. Yes, we're heading back towards some old builds, but if you don't have a way up or you don't have daylight to mantle, it's going to get very tough. But Blake has, since we've watched, he's picked up the 1 elimination and like 10 placement points.
He's just racking up.
Chilling.
He's just adding up here. We're inside the top 5.
He has to go up. He has to go
playing
up.
this low ground so well, but Adrian's is coming around the corner, and he just lights him up like a firework. Down he goes. 5 eliminations now, and Adrian snatches up a 4th place here, and he is starting to crank his way out the side. Remember, high ground does not have any builds here. The low ground teams have been able to live off the siphon down. Finally goes Adrian's users, is clutching up
crit space
here.
He's blocked up for the crit.
3, but no, down he goes, and he has all the white heals. He ends up dropping them here for Skittles. This is a team that's at Collider. Remember that. So they absolutely need this. A free elimination for Narwhal in Nexi as they've managed to turn around this high ground, and now they're fighting their way out to this victory royale here. It's a 2v1 situation, and Teo, you can run, but you cannot hide. Down he goes.
And Narwhal spears him there with the horn on his head. And I want to say we're going to get a shakeup in the leaderboard, but we know who's on top. However, Blake and Lawrence, they made a push. I mean, Blake was talking about maybe dipping down to Florida instead. He's going to be dipping all the way up the top of the leaderboard here as we can now take a look next to Narwhal. I mean, just great positional advantage. 8 elims in the VR. That's going to put them in the conversation.
Yeah, we saw what happened